Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be showing you some teardown and repair tips for the Phantoms Opera House made by Lemax. This piece was sent in to me by a viewer, and if you have any buildings that are sentimental to you and you'd really like to have fixed, feel free to reach out. I have my email and phone number in my about info on YouTube, and I do take requests for having repairs done. This building had a broken, or not broken, but very seized motor. And I'm going to still see if I can get it to be a little bit more quiet, but it is running now. The problem is this one had already been seemingly dropped and repaired before I received it, and it's a little bit in shambles. I'm still going to keep fixing it after I'm done putting the motor back in, but I wanted to film this segment beforehand. This building is really not worth tearing apart unless you absolutely need to have the motion working. Is basically the way they've designed it is there's a plastic plate here as well as underneath. They're sandwiched like this and they're screwed together. And I tried taking out the screws. One of them got stripped. It didn't want to come out. And even if I could have gotten both off, it's glued as well with resin. So unless you're lucky, because sometimes with Lemax pieces it can vary with the glue that they use, how much on each piece, and if you're lucky and they didn't use much glue, you might be able to pop this up and out. On this one I couldn't. I kept trying, but it just wasn't working. The other problem is, though, even if you are able to dislodge the plates, the chandelier portion on the top is glued onto this plate, and this plate is fixed onto the motor and screwed in. The screw is somewhere around here. This one. It's a really long bolt screw, like it's actually threaded into the motor. So the motor is screwed in onto the bottom plate, and really it's impossible to get it out unless you take off the top. And as you can see here, this one didn't want to come off nicely. That's glued heavily with the resin glue all the way around, and you cannot heat gun it because that'll melt these little plastic windows. You could pop the windows out and then heat gun it and try that. I didn't try that, so I guess you could try that, but I was trying to see if I could pry this off, but being that it had already been dropped previously, it basically caused it to just break. And this has already been reconstructed partially, because when it kind of came off, it had a couple cracks in this pillar. It was pretty bad, but I've already re-glued this portion back, and then once I'm done putting everything back in, I'll finish re-gluing everything and having it situated. The glue that I use is this Rapid Fuse super glue. This has worked very well for every single building that I've done it on, because once it's dry, the bond that it makes is, I'd say, almost stronger than the original porcelain, and it's invisible. Like, you can't, if there wasn't actual little missing segments, I don't really think you'd be able to tell that this had cracks. As you can see, there's a couple here. So I'd say this glue works very well for repairing things. But anyway, I just wanted to film this so it's sort of a warning, and you can see what happens, I guess, and how you would need to take it apart. Yeah, this is the main problem, is this screw. Because, yeah, this is also resin glued in place, of course. So they couldn't use hot glue or any other type of thing to fasten this on a little bit nicer. So you also have to be really careful about prying this off. Luckily, he came off without any damage, but it's just really... I'd say this has so far been the worst building that I've worked on as far as being able to take it apart without breaking things. Because it's just, this top part is so fragile with the way it's constructed, with these little pillars and the plastic. It's really hard to get it to come off nice. So I wish that like the top wasn't all one piece, because maybe if the top dome could just pop off, maybe I could have worked around that, but it's just really, it's really hard. I guess another thing you could try doing is popping off the plastic windows and then trying to pry the figure off, and I still doubt you'd be able to get the screw out though, even if you pried him off without removing the top. It's just really kind of an impossible predicament that it's in. So thank you for watching. Oh, something else I guess I forgot to mention is unseizing the motor. With these, I don't actually know how this one seized up or failed, I guess. Because these gearboxes are supposed to be basically lifelong. They shouldn't really have any failure, but this one, it seems like it just got stuck. And then I just ended up using some oil. I just used an all-purpose oil, and I was able to dab it into the hole there on the side. And then I was able to lightly move this with the pliers while the piece was turned on, and that was able to get it to start moving, and then once it started running, it was moving better and better. So I'm not really sure how loud this is originally. This seems probably about normal, because I doubt it would be like 100% silent. So it's sort of got this light vibration noise, but it has reliably turned on and off with each time I turn on and off the piece, so it seems to be fixed. So yeah, I don't know, I guess if you're lucky, you might be able to try and tip the piece on its back and then try and squirt some oil in, and then pop the windows out, and then try and lightly turn the plate. Try and turn this piece versus grabbing onto this. And you might be able to turn the plate and get it to unseize. On this one, though, it was completely a lost cause, because seemingly since it had been dropped before, the plate was loose and it was like spinning freely like this, and it wasn't actually down, because this is supposed to have a little notch on the top end that actually lines up with the flat side of this, and that was just not sitting down enough. The screw had come loose. It was just really, it had to be ripped apart and redone. So, but if your piece has been better maintained and things, you might be more lucky. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more videos on my channel.